What's up, weirdos? I'm Felicia and I like scary movies, and today we're continuing our Texas Chainsaw series by going into the 2003 remake of Texas Chainsaw and the prequel to that one, 2006's Texas Chainsaw: The Beginning. Now, the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre for me is referred to always as the Jessica Biel one. And I think this one is really good. It was directed by Marcus Nispel, who would go on to direct the Friday the 13th remake a couple years later. And here's the plot according to the internet. In this remake of the horror classic, a group of young travelers, including Aaron, Andy, and Morgan, comes across an isolated rural home while driving through Texas. Unfortunately for them, the decrepit house is the residence of a family of deranged backwoods killers, most notably a hulking mass brute known as Leatherface, who begins to hunt the stranded youths down. I feel like this synopsis is very rude. It's like, deranged backwoods killers, like, rude. Masked brute. I don't know. Seems rude. Now, as soon as I turned on this movie to watch it again for the first time in many years, I really did laugh because the color palette is, to me, so early 2000s. It's so Saw, even though I think Saw came out after this. Like, it's that kind of like, it's very green. It's a very green movie. Now, I really like this remake because you can tell they're giving a lot of respect to the original film. It's also like takes place in the 70s in the way in which they're on their way to a Leonard Skinner concert and stopping for weed in Mexico. Like, it's just great stuff. But they also start us out in a way that shows us this movie's gonna be quite different. They have a woman show up in the hitchhiker role who is not doing well. And she kind of reminds us, I think, of how Sally Hardesty ends the movie in the first one in a way. Not as like manic, but definitely like traumatized. And then after they pick her up, she kills herself in their van. And it is horrifying and brutal. And so they go to try to find help, and no one in this town can help them. The sheriff we find out in the next movie, is not really the sheriff, but like is so evil and scary. The kills in this one are much more brutal, and like the idea of the Ed Gein stuff of like Leatherface cutting off people's faces to wear as masks is done in a much more brutal way in this one. We also have the throwback to the meat hook. So we see that in the first movie when one of the girls is hung on a slaughterhouse meat hook. We get that in this movie as well, but of course it's much more gory, much more brutal, very like almost like hostile vibes. And then in this one we get like a little bit of backstory about Leatherface that we don't get in the other movies. So at one point, Erin, Jessica Biel, is running away from Leatherface and the family. She comes upon this trailer that these two women are in, and turns out they're up to no good too. They give Jessica Biel some like tea that makes her pass out. They just freaking deliver her to the Sawyer family, who now has like a mother figure in it, which is interesting. And you basically find out that Leatherface had some sort of skin disease that had him tormented his whole life, and so the family had become very isolated, blah blah blah. But yeah, I don't know, for me this one like adds enough new stuff to keep it interesting, adds more gore than the original film, and has that early 2000s green look to it that I find very nostalgic. So I like it, and I think Jessica Biel gives a great performance in this movie. She looks very scared. Okay, and then the next one, Texas Chainsaw: The Beginning. I literally was just looking at my notes and was like, why can't I really remember anything about this movie? I know we get like the big leather story. What? I know we get the big Leatherface backstory of his mother giving birth to her deformed child, Leatherface, in the slaughterhouse. And this one also brings in like the Vietnam War that we talked about in the first movie. We have these two, I can't remember if they're brothers or not, but one of them's like a draft dodger. The other one like just came back from Vietnam and had a lot of bad experiences. And in general, this one seems to be much more about the negative perspective put on poor people in rural places. Like one of the girls who, I can't remember, like literally why can I not remember anything about this movie? But I did write down this quote. But one of the girls, who might be the final girl, might not be, while she's trapped in the house, says, you beep all your cousins or just the ones you find attractive? Which is like, for me, this idea of like this family being treated badly and stereotyped, and that they've sort of become what society perceives them as, if that makes sense. But I don't know. This one for me was just kind of forgettable. It wasn't like that. Once again, I really liked the 2003 remake. This one kind of felt like they really tried to push it. I don't even know if that movie was successful. Yeah, I mean, at least it made its money back. But I'm sure that that's why they went into making the Texas Chainsaw prequel. But yeah, did anyone like this one? I would be curious. For me, it was just sort of forgettable, but let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Yeah, I don't know. I told you these are gonna be chit-chatty videos, and as we get further in the franchise, I have less and less information. But that's it. If you like this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you tomorrow. Have an ice cream. Bye.